Hello everyone, this is Chris from Cowap Bros in a direct response to one of the topics brought up at our last podcast, infuriating moments in video games. Well, this was one of mine. This is the Tomb Raider 4 part of the 12 Tombs of Christmas challenge that I did last year, and this is where it got incredibly messy for me. Okay, so let me explain what was going on. Tomb Raider 4 and the whole challenge itself actually was going quite well. I was still on schedule, and I found myself in this level. So this is the Lost Library. So for any Tomb Raider fan, you know that this level is a big one, and it's a fantastic level. Really good level. Okay, so I found myself having not saved the game in quite some time and just overwriting my progress, making my way through the library, opening 9 doors to try to figure out how to open the big main doors, and everything was going quite well. I was guiding Lara through the levels. I was picking up my medical packs. I wasn't missing anything. Even had time to sprint there. Everything was going swimmingly. And then what happened was a disaster. And this for me was the main turning point, I think, of my Tomb Raider challenge. And this was incredibly infuriating. So I make my way through these doors. And what you're going to see here is like an element, a fire element there. It just came out of the torch, and you'll see it hit Lara in just a second. Okay, so there it is. Now, all it's doing is taking a little bit of her health off her. Nothing too major to worry about, but they will continuously follow her until she hits water, and then they will extinguish themselves. That's not a problem. I can deal with that. I can deal with them just chipping away at my health because I have loads of medical packs, and they're not really doing me any real harm. So, make my way through this room here. And I drop down through the floor in a second. And at this point, I think to myself, you know what? I might just save my progress here. Just a normal save game progress. But look, fire element is hurtling itself towards Lara right there. I thought absolutely nothing of it. All it was going to do was deal me a little bit of damage, and I'd move on. So there you go. I overwrite my game. Foolish, because when the game restarts from my save, not only did it chip away at Lara's health, but she combusts into flames and is left slowly burning to death. Now, I thought maybe this was just a little glitch that just happened the one time, but every time I proceeded to load my game, Lara was on fire. And there was absolutely nothing I could do about it other than go back and play through the previous about 2.5 hours of gameplay to get to this point, which I did not want to do because I was well on track for completing the 12 Tombs challenge that I set myself. So, I came up with the idea that if I continued to use medical packs to refill Lara's health just seconds before she would die, which is what I'm doing here, then I could maybe try to track my way through the doors of the library in the hopes of finding water somewhere. It was a long shot. It was an incredibly long shot because I knew I had seen water somewhere. I just had no idea where. I knew there was like a single pool of water somewhere, but finding it was the hard part. I wasn't following any guide. I wasn't following a walkthrough. I had no map of the area. It was just whatever I had stored up in my head at the time, leading me through these corridors, and it did not go well for me. As you see in here, I died again and again and again, and this got really frustrating. Continuously loading it up and dying. Got to the point where I just wanted to fire the controller on the floor and give up, but I knew I had to keep pushing. Sooner or later I was bound to uncover water somewhere in this library. And it does. It looks like I know where I'm going. And soon enough, I wasn't just fighting fire, but gravity. I was dying all over the place. That is one of many deaths not related to fire. Right there. When you have 9 doors and you have to find water in one of those doors in this huge level, these levels were really expansive. It gets infuriating having to constantly, every 2 or 3 seconds, open your inventory, use a medical pack, close the inventory, run on a few steps, repeat. Because there's no quick key. I wasn't playing this on PC, I was playing it on PS1, so there was no quick key for actually just using a medical pack. It all had to be done manually, if you like. Like so. Thankfully, I had quite a few medical packs stored, and I could continue to just use those. I was determined to find water, because there was not a hope in hell I was going back to replay my progress beforehand. That just was not happening. I was too stubborn, too ignorant to do so. I probably, in the time it took me to find water, I probably could have got back there, and that it did take me about, I'm not joking, probably about 90 minutes between me playing it, getting frustrated, walking away from it, coming back, picking up the controller again. It took me about 90 minutes to actually find water in this place. Of just constantly running about in a blaze, Lara dying time and time again. And not once throughout the entire playthrough of Tomb Raider did I find the controls finicky or annoying or frustrating, but right then, when I was constantly dying and there was this pressure on me, those controls were abysmal. I couldn't maneuver Lara, I was hitting walls, I was pressing the wrong buttons. Everything that could go wrong, essentially, was going wrong, and I was burning, get it, through medical packs like there was no tomorrow. These medical packs I was trying to save for the latter stages of the game because I knew there were a couple of big moments coming up, and to have those saved would be a godsend. But no, I am quite happy to burn through 20 or 30 of my medical packs in order to keep Lara alive for a couple of seconds. Eventually, after tracing my way through the 5 lower doors, I eventually tried the 6th, which had to lead me to water. I knew there was water down here somewhere. Through process of elimination. As you can see, those small medical packs were doing nothing. I mean, I was burning through those bad boys, hitting dead ends and walls. But sure enough, I found me some water. 90 minutes of grueling agony Lara suffered. But we got there in the end, and that was just one of the reasons the Tomb Raider challenge was a failure.